Hey, this is Notser, and today we're taking a look at the Tier 10 French cruiser Colbert. We are on the map North. This is the build that I chose to use for this particular game. This is a work-in-progress ship. The stats are not final. This is the Tier 10 style Atlanta ship that Wargaming teased about a month ago, and finally the CCs and Super Testers can play it, and I can share my first impression on the ship. Now, my build, it does include IFHE. Yes, I have played this without IFHE. Same with the Smolensk. I chose this ship over the Smolensk for my first impression, simply because the game's really good. I have no other reason for it. Both of the ships are very popular, and both are very interesting. So this is with IFHE. It pushes the pin from, I think, 21 millimeters to somewhere in the 26, 27 millimeter. So it makes you do a lot of damage against enemy cruisers. You don't clear any significant threshold against battleships, but for cruisers you do. Now I was moving into position, and you'll note this is the French speed boost, so it is really good. I do have the speed boost duration module, and of course we're spotted by the Ognivo, and just look at this. Look at how devastating this ship is. Just boom, 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 gone. Just like that. And it would have taken one extra salvo if I didn't have teammates there to assist with a little bit of extra damage. That's how quick these things kill DDs. That's pretty scary if I was a DD and this was operating somewhere close. Note that the concealment was 9.8, and then I have the kind of maneuverability to get out of there. So right off the bat, we've already paid for this ship by getting rid of that DD so that my team could potentially capture C point. But I don't know enough about what the enemy's doing to go any further. So I'm just going to try and get some crossfire on the enemy Iowa as he's moving into position. Initially started with HE, switched to AP. That's one of the things that these ships are going to encourage in players. And yes, I have IFHE. Why wouldn't you just fire HE all the time? Because I don't have enough pin to penetrate an enemy battleship who is broadside. You can do significant AP salvos with these 127s. And they are 127s. It's 16 127s. Out of every angle, you will lose 2 guns because they're sort of port and starboard, unless you are perfectly broadside and the enemy is far away, because you can sort of lob the back guns that would normally be blocked by the front guns over islands and stuff. So one little tip that I discovered while playing it is that you could actually get all 16 guns if you're perfectly broadside. You don't want to be perfectly broadside because these are the most glass cannon ships in the game. They have a citadel, and the enemy can pin it from any angle, so be very, very careful when you're firing your guns. And oh, of course, there's a Des Moines. Oh. So I'm going to be as careful as I can, knowing full well that the Des Moines could melt me in an instant. But he is broadside, so I'm just going to try and fire some HE. Do my best to minimize his AP impact. I'm trying to sail up to the island. He, in response to losing me, he instantly used radar, which is good for me because that means for another 10 or so seconds, he can't actually benefit from it. And no one else can. So I was able to delay, through his interest in my ship, any impact on C point, but he is going to move closer to it, and it is going to cause the enemies to disrupt my team in capturing. But I am radar spotted, so there is no ambushing going on in this position. I just merely have to, stay with the island blocking most of my shots, try and fire on the enemy. Now, one thing that is very noticeable compared to the Smolensk is the gun velocity. Near the top end of the range, I did go advanced firing training with this. Why didn't I go basic firing training? I don't have enough points to go everything. I did try not having IFHE, and that was just a really bad build on both of them. It felt really bad because even against cruisers, any angle, your HE would shatter. And there's a significant amount of cruisers, right? So IFHE is mandatory. Concealment, mandatory. If you go those two, and then you have concealment module, you've got a really very scary ship where you can almost be competing with some DDs, Kaba, in the concealment arena. But then your gun systems are so much better that you're probably like 3 or 4 DDs all packed into one. So you can literally, if you were to find 2 or 3 DDs out in the open, you could kill all of them in 10 seconds. 10, 15, 20 seconds, and they couldn't do anything to you. They might fire 2 or 3 salvos at most. And the turret rotation, it's like 8 to 10 seconds with the build I have. You barely even notice that the turrets traverse. So I wanted to be a little aggressive moving towards the western side. I am aware that I don't have my speed boost. This is the vulnerability state that the French cruisers and DDs will have. You just have 90 seconds where you are very vulnerable. So I decide, okay, we're going to hold our fire. We're going to capture this base. We're going to deal with any enemies that happen to get too close. But I don't want to be spotted until I get speed boost back up. And just taking stock, there is a significant amount of enemies over by A. That is the last spotted location of their DD. I'm going to expect that their DD is either leading the front south of A, or he's looking to do something else. Maybe take B or whatever. But he does know I'm here. And yes, he probably is not familiar with the ship yet, but he will be. Oh, he will be. Every DD will be aware of these ships, and the Massachusetts chose a very interesting position. Thankfully, I stayed near the back. My speed boost is back up. I'm going to speed out of here, and I'm going to fire openly on the enemy. I'm relying on the French's speed and maneuverability to avoid. I do get sort of a broadside on the Iowa, so I want to cash in on the AP. And the AP will absolutely cash in far more on a broadside battleship, or even a partially side battleship, than the HE I have found in my experience, just because of the low pin. And he's, of course, going to return fire, angle as best as I can. He does get inside relatively effectively, but, switch to HE, don't really know exactly what I have. I would love to get some fires on him. And just look at the rain of shells. I mean, it's just constantly. You want to farm ribbons? These suckers farm more ribbons than I've ever seen. I easily end the game with 2,000-3,000 ribbons if I get a chance to fire on a lot of enemies. It's insane. And the same goes for the Smolensk. And just look at these HE salvos. So I'm hitting basically only the superstructure to do damage. And oh, Shima shows up. We're going to try and kill this guy really quickly because we can. And just want to lead him in the direction because we can. And he chooses to use his smoke. Just a little short. He probably was just so terrified. He wanted to get in the capture and use smoke, but he's going to inch himself in. I get a couple salvos on the Shimakaze. They do pretty good damage, but I don't see him to confirm more accuracy, so I'm going to just transition back to the Tirpitz. The Massachusetts is also, and I'm giving ground against the Buffalo. Good luck hitting me, Buffalo. That's all I have to say. Speed boost? No. But we're firing on the Tirpitz on cooldown, and he's probably going to get really frustrated with us because it's just shell after shell after shell after shell. It's so intimidating. Even if all the shells aren't pinning, if I was firing against a Kremlin. If I was firing against a Kremlin with his 60 millimeters and 32 millimeters, there would be almost no pin with the HE. But if I get their broadside, AP, completely different story. So we're just working on the Tirpitz, trying to locate the HE, get some fires on him. Obviously, be careful of the torpedoes. Looks like he wants to fire on me. I don't blame him. I really don't blame him. This is like a crazy experience. Anyone who loves the Atlanta, you will love these ships. This is exactly what the Atlanta would be at tier 10. But we get another fire on the Tirpitz, 2 fires set. We're already up to 109,000. Looks like he's put the fire out. Unfortunate. Just going to continuously fire on enemies that I can. This Buffalo seemingly is going to show a broadside. I don't really know that I care too much about switching to AP because Friendly's going to do it for me, and we get 2 fires that should easily kill him off. Oh, he puts the fire out, but it's too late for him there. This is just a really great complementary ship design for battleships. It is exactly what the battleship isn't. High rate of fire, very low armor, super fast turret traverse, and outstanding AA. It is just a perfect division, a duo division mate to complement any battleship in the game. I expect these guys will be very prominent with some duo teams and some three-person teams, triple. But, you know, we're doing all right. The game is just rocketing through, and partially because this is one of the highest damage from any ships in the game. But it is a glass cannon. I'm doing everything I can to avoid taking that single shell that would end me, and I'm being very fortunate that the enemy's location just isn't quite where it needs to be. Probably unfamiliarity with the ship, probably also very intimidated by the shells that are coming towards it. I mean, if I saw 16 shells every 3 seconds in the air, I would be crapping my pants a little bit. This enemy Massachusetts, he knows this is dangerous. Now, what is actually very dangerous for me, speed boost duration is ending. And I come around the corner at the worst moment. Oh my goodness, this guy's here. Of course he's here. So we're going to unload some of our HE. With IFHE, I can do free damage. Normally, it would shatter on the ship, so that is a clear benefit to switching. And I'm, of course, taking damage from something. And I was like, what is it? Oh, it's a Shima. Well, we'll traverse our guns in 3 seconds, kill him with one salvo, and then switch right back. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Note the ribbon. We're up to 200 ribbons on our shell. It hasn't even had a chance to go into. And, ooh, we citadeled him from this angle. That's great. And I'm just going to keep this angle so he can't citadel me. And friendly Ibuki's able to punish him. And I wanted the ram so bad. I was like, the ram would have finished it off. We would have gotten Kraken Unleashed. Obviously, since it's a test ship, I would not actually earn Kraken Unleashed. But I would know I earned Kraken Unleashed because we've been the 5th one. But look at the damage. We've done 190,000 damage. We have had 631 shells hit the targets. 3 citadels, a base capture, 4 kills, 12 fires. And we haven't, honestly, been engaged in combat that long. These ships are going to be insane in games without aircraft carriers or a way to reach them behind islands or in smoke. I personally prefer the Colbert speed to the Smoke Smolensk, but they both do a very great job of doing damage without much return. And what can I say? It's a really good ship, but I did choose IFHE. Without IFHE, would have just get dominated by that Worcester. So it is a trade-off. You know, you can't take it all. I can't take basic firing training. I can't take demolition expert. I've got to choose. But what I chose worked out very well. Thanks for watching. If you would like to check out more of my videos, you can click the most recent and the most relevant uploads. Also, you can subscribe to the channel. We do daily World Warship content, first impressions, reviews, how-tos, news. I also stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.